You won't believe what happened to Juanita Bynum, a famous speaker who was once seen as a strong voice in the religious world. But now comes the shocking part. A darker and more controversial story was going on behind her speeches and public image. Many people praised her for her fiery preaching and claims that she could do wonders. But this story was different because the truth slowly came out, letting slip truths that no one saw coming. At first, she looked like a strong, committed woman of God. But over time, rumors spread about her sudden disappearances, her strange behavior during lectures, and her wealth that no one could explain. The most crazy part? People who were close to her began to speak out, giving a very different picture than what most people saw. I'll tell you how things started to go wrong. Small clues showed that something wasn't right at the start. People who went to her events noticed that she was more emotional than any other speaker they had heard. People were pushed to give money, not just for the church, but also for special miracle gifts. It was almost like she was in charge of the crowd. Some members said they felt pushed and almost tricked. How was this story different? Their team had a strict rule. Asking about money is not allowed. Anyone who tried to ask was shut down right away. Some well-known gospel singers who worked with her at first later stopped working with her. But now comes the shocking part. People who worked for Juanita said behind closed doors that she had long hours, strict rules, and a strange fixation on keeping up her public image at all costs. There were more rumors about her as her ministry grew quickly. Some people began to wonder if her power really came from God or something else. When a trusted source spoke out, fate took a turn that no one saw coming. And that was just the start. After a while, the story could no longer be ignored. Someone who used to work with Juanita and be one of her best friends recorded a podcast called The Prophet and the Prophets, in which they tell all. It dropped out of the blue and quickly went viral on social media. It was more than just accusations. There were recorded emails, phone calls, and audio clips from behind the scenes that showed Juanita supposedly telling her staff how to get people to feel strongly about the cause and ask for more donations by saying that they would help the cause financially. She even said in one clip, "Make them feel like they're going to miss their miracle if they don't give tonight." Hearing this broke the trust of many. But now comes the shocking part. Some clips seem to have been trimmed a lot. Juanita replied right away during a live show, and she started crying. She told him, "There is a plot to ruin me. I've worked for God for 40 years. How could I still be standing if I were wrong?" She said she was going to sue and said the people who made the show had a grudge against her. Social networks broke up. Some people still stood by Juanita, but a lot of people said enough is enough. Then there was another blast. A video went viral that showed Juanita selling holy anointing oil at a prayer event, where only people who were invited paid $999 a bottle. People were shocked. What was it? Had faith turned into a fancy thing? Juanita said that she made the oil herself after praying and fasting, which she saw as a sign of a spiritual mantle. Some people said it was a Christian scheme. More inconsistencies were found when the media looked into it, such as various business registrations, changing addresses, and unclear money flows. People were left thinking if this was really for God or if it was just a carefully planned empire. That was not the end of the story, though. After a few months, Juanita started a new gathering called Restoration Fire Revival. Even with all the problems, she still had sold-out shows. How did this happen? Did people forgive her too quickly, or did she need drama to stay alive? The main question was whether Juanita Bynum was a spiritual con artist or a broken woman trying to get better after her mistakes. This is the most crazy part. People are still not sure what the difference is between truth and show. Should they praise Juanita or bring her to light? Things had taken another turn that no one saw coming. But one thing was clear to everyone. Was this real faith, or was it all a big show? It wasn't just the expensive oils and emotional lectures that caused trouble. The unique thing about this story was how Juanita's private life became public all of a sudden, and it shocked a lot more people than her business deals. Behind the podium, she was having big problems that no one saw coming. There were rumors going around about her relationships. Some of them seemed to go against the strict moral image she taught. The most crazy part. Some people who knew Juanita well said that she had a secret group of friends who lived very differently from the people she led at church. Many of her fans wondered if she was living two lives, one for the public and one for herself, because of this secret life. But now comes the shocking part. It wasn't just about how she lived. Talk spread about her mental health and the strange things she did, like losing it or yelling at her team during talks. Some said she was under a lot of stress, but others think she was just showing how she felt to control the crowd even more. How is this story different? Reports said that she sometimes refused medical help and only turned to prayer when she was really sick. This added to the drama and made people worry about her health. After that, things got even worse. As the media's attention grew, more former church members and staff started talking about their experiences. One of Juanita's former assistants said she expected complete loyalty and cut people off completely if they didn't agree with her choices. Another person said that they were asked to sign deals not to tell anyone what they were doing, as if they were trying to hide the truth. This made the ministry a place where people were afraid. However, this is what shocks me. A brave former member shared financial records that showed huge amounts of money moving between accounts without much being known about it. This proof was enough for the police to start looking into it, and Juanita's ministry was suddenly being watched very closely. Even with all of this, Juanita stayed very visible in public. She kept giving talks and having conferences about faith and miracles. She often told her followers that hard times were tests from God. The public was split, though. Some thought she was innocent and had been tricked by jealousy and false information, while others thought she was running a religious kingdom based on greed and manipulation. The drama got worse when a well-known journalist wrote an expose about supposed ties between Juanita's ministry and a number of controversial politicians. This made people really wonder how far the effect went and if faith was being used as a way to gain power. Things didn't end there. What came next made everyone speechless. More shocking information about Juanita's ministry came to light as the probe went deeper. The story went in a direction that no one saw coming, and the tension was strong. The investigation showed that some donations made for charity were missing for some reason. The followers were very upset about this news because many of them had given money to help the sick and poor. However, this is what shocks me. Insiders say that some of the money was used to help Juanita and her closest friends live fancy lives. The bank accounts for her ministry were tied to expensive cars, private jets, and fancy homes. People were shocked. How could someone who preaches modesty live such a lavish life? Things got worse after that. Some people who used to go to church told sad stories about being abused emotionally and spiritually. They said they felt obligated to give more than they could afford and would feel bad if they didn't. One woman talked about how people told her that giving more money would make things better, but all it did was put her in debt. There was a lot more darkness in these personal stories than in what Juanita said on stage. However, this is what shocks me. Some of the people who spoke out either vanished without a trace or were given legal threats to keep quiet. It looked like there was a fight between fear and the truth. At the same time, Juanita refused to give in. She said the claims were lies told by jealous enemies who wanted to destroy her work. She told those who were true to her to be strong and pray. This caused a split even in her own church group. A lot of followers were lost. Should they trust the woman who had given them so much hope in the past? Or should they believe the more and more voices that were calling her out? How is this story different? A video that got out showed Juanita privately saying that she was having trouble with guilt and doubt, but she claimed that she was still working for God. This moment was like a hole in her tough armor that let everyone know she was human, weak, and maybe even overwhelmed. The most crazy part then came. A sudden break in the case happened when someone inside the ministry gave the police more proof, such as documents and recordings of conversations. These made it clear that there was a pattern of lying, trickery, and hidden deals. Juanita was under more stress than ever before. She stopped going out in public as much, and rumors started going around that she was planning to quit the ministry for good. People who liked and disliked her were both waiting to see if she would tell the truth or fight until the end. Things were going in a strange direction, and no one knew how the story would end. Juanita's world began to fall apart as the stress grew. Official charges were brought by the government, and the media frenzy got worse every day. People who were loyal to her were torn between standing up for their spiritual leader and accepting the truth. It used to be that the church was full of faith and hope, but now it's full of whispers and doubt. The pain it caused was huge for everyone. Some of Juanita's best friends started to pull away because they were worried about what would happen to their own reputations. It wasn't just about power or money anymore. It was about having faith and trust broken. But now comes the shocking part. Even though there was a lot of proof, Juanita refused to admit she was wrong. For the first time in public, she said she was the target of a plot and would fight to clear her name.